and with me in the studio is Oldham County Judge Executive David Voegele. Good morning, Judge.
All right, good morning. Top of the morning to you.
You have been busy. I know you have been everywhere. I've seen numerous ribbon cuttings that have happened.
Yes.
And I guess the latest is the ribbon cutting over at Baptist yesterday. Tell us
Yes,
about
yesterday morning we had the ribbon cutting for the new behavioral health center they have. They put in, I believe, 12 beds in a section of the hospital that are for treating people with mental illness, mental handicaps, and we had a nice ribbon cutting for that. That's the second ribbon cutting we've had there in a week.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was the prior week for the pharmaceutical building, which is unbelievable. It is, golly, that's
I understand it's
huge.
big.
Yes, and they have a couple hundred people working in there, and it has amazingly high ceilings. I just couldn't believe.
Well, I read
it's like
somewhere
a 50-foot ceiling or something.
Isn't like 10,000 prescriptions that'll come out of there?
Yeah, well, that's like 10,000 an hour or something.
Oh, wow, okay.
I can't quote you the exact number, but we heard one that was almost unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is, they worked with UPS to develop a system for generating all of these prescriptions through an assembly line of mechanical equipment and baskets and whatnot. So
it's all positive movement.
Yes, I told them yesterday if they keep on building more buildings and opening more facilities, we'll keep bringing more proclamations.
Right. Because
it
it shouldn't be long before we start to see more going up out at the Oldham Reserve area. And,
yes, right.
And everybody's getting a good look at Oldham Reserve now with the detour.
Yes,
while
right.
53 is closing.
People that may not have been through there before are getting a good look at it. The traffic is going to clear up hopefully by Tuesday.
Yeah.
The bridge was going to be open on Monday, but when they got into the construction, reconstruction, they found deficits that weren't expected to be found. That they pushed it out one more day before completion. So we also have a paving project scheduled for Commerce Parkway, but that will also not happen until Tuesday, until the bridge is open. So we're not going to get into that again. A lot of people were upset about that.
Yeah, we had a lot of emails, Facebook response, a lot of calls in the studio about that on that Monday morning, particularly when people were using that to go all the way out to 329. And I didn't talk personally, but I got an email from Bill Silliman, the county engineer, basically, saying it was already scheduled and there was nothing they could do at the time to move it. So there's just multiple factors that go into any job that occurs that people who aren't involved with those jobs don't really understand how many decisions are made, and that the people that we hire to do these jobs are not able to turn on a dime generally. They have a schedule of events that are supposed to happen throughout the summer and fall based on just a lot of factors, school being open and this work being done here and there and moving their equipment from place to place. And a lot of people have asked why has it taken so long to open these ramps, and I don't really have a good answer other than the fact that the original contract to get the ramp work finished was to be completed by August. Well, we're in June.
We're in June, and the contractors are all well within the scheduled time they had. And so it's frustrating to see something that can't be used. I believe there were the LG&E or KU, somebody was out there yesterday working on electricity.
They were on this morning. When I came to work at 5:30, those lights on the new ramps were on, and I talked with Morgan with Kentucky Transportation Cabinet yesterday, and she said as soon as those lights got up, it should be able to open. But again, she emphasized, they have until August 31st.
Yeah. Well, we got notice yesterday the governor plans to release a news video on the opening of the ramps next week. So I think it's coming sooner. I've learned the hard way over 14 years to never say exactly when something is going to happen.
Because you never know what's going to, and people were saying on Grapevine and stuff, oh, I knew it was going to be, everybody knew it was going to be. It's like nobody knew anything until
It was explained to me from the transportation cabinet that when they were milling the road over top of 71, apparently it was thicker and deeper than they originally intended, that they thought it was. So that took another amount of time to continue to do that work before the next step could begin.
And there were some issues on the underside of the
Right.
bridge that caused them to have to close 71. Well, most of us were sleeping. They were working
Right,
under
so-
the bridge. They didn't.
And that's for safety reasons. There's
Right.
nobody that needs to complain about that because that was a needed thing. Now, something a little bit off the traffic side for you. I understand that since Governor Beshear has legalized dispensaries and medical marijuana in the state of Kentucky, there's a question whether or not Oldham County is going to be allowing for those legal dispensaries here. The initial report I got from someone I know that works in the media was that there's been some internal talk of not wanting it, or can you give us any information?
Yes, I'll bring you up to date on. I believe that the legislature passed, the appropriate steps in the last session to allow medical marijuana to be dispensed in pill form. There are at the last meeting of the fiscal court, Magistrate Hawkins asked for the first reading of a bill or a resolution that she has that would prohibit the development, cultivation, and dispensing of medical marijuana in Oldham County.
And what's her reasoning for that? Did she say?
Let me back up one step yet. She asked to have this put on the agenda.
Okay.
Because it was controversial, I thought in nature I took a vote, and the 4 of the magistrates were against discussing it, 4 were in favor of discussing it. So when it's a tie vote, it puts me square in the middle of
You have to break
decide
the
if we're
tie.
going to go forward or not. So I broke the tie in favor of allowing a discussion of this to continue forward. And there will be so she introduced what we call a first reading of this proposed ordinance. A second reading will come up at the end of the month, and we'll have a much deeper discussion of it. I believe her feeling, I don't want to speak really
We'll be in
for
contact with her to
because,
see to have her on the show.
I believe she feels that the introduction of medical marijuana in the community will lead to the other uses of marijuana in a way that are illegal and abusive. I'll say this: I'm allowing the discussion to go forward because it's something the community needs to evaluate. But I personally am not really opposed to it. It's a pill. It's not. You're not smoking anything. It is not for recreational use or any other thing than to assist someone who's in pain. And there are a lot of people walking around with issues that,
And there's a lot of people using it now for pain because, it has been deemed it does have medical benefits. Right. And of course, people smoke it for recreational use as well.
Well, I'm not in favor of what they do in Colorado or other places coming to Kentucky, and I don't think that was certainly not the legislative intent. If we can't have an agreement in the state on how casinos operating around Kentucky, I don't think we're ever going to get to marijuana. But the issue is that it's about the same issue we had with alcohol. At one time, we did not allow alcohol sales in Oldham County. Mm-hmm. But you could go across the county line and buy it and bring it into the county. And it was just sort of self-defeating. Mm-hmm. Over a period of time, the perception of what that was. Well, people were afraid we're going to have bars on Main Street here in LaGrange. And
oh my goodness, and it caused so
laying
much
on
problem.
The sidewalk. Yeah. Well, all of that never happened.
No.
It didn't, and people were using buying liquor anyway across the county line.
And so they'll do that with the medical marijuana.
I don't really see where the difference here is. I don't think there would be. There's a number of, as I understand, a number of licenses are allowed per region. Jefferson County will dominate the license. We may have one store in this county that would be a dispensary if it happens. So we're actually going to have a meeting this morning. After I leave here, I'm going to another meeting. I appointed
a study group of fiscal court members, invited the health department to come and some others, and to actually discuss the issue, air it out, learn as much as we can about it. And
will these meetings be open to the public to attend?
well, right, we're having a meeting this morning at 9 o'clock, and it's a study group.
Okay.
Obviously, the fiscal court meeting will be open,
and that is open to the public.
And that's going to be on the Wednesday, the 26th, at 2 o'clock at the fiscal court room.
Okay.
We'll discuss it, and I don't know. You know, I recall years ago, back about 2007, we took a vote on whether or not people could smoke in public places.
Right.
And there were many, many people opposed to that ordinance, and they were upset.
Yep.
But you know, now it's I guess 17 years later, and life has gone on, and
there was so much concern about the health and rehab facility right across the street from us on Jefferson Street. And to my knowledge, there's been, no major problems as a result of that.
It's pretty quiet. I was thinking about that yesterday. I haven't heard anything. I was going to ask John Black if it actually even is there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unfortunately, everything that is a little bit controversial, people who are opposed to something will, conjure up in their mind the worst case scenario that could happen. And there's sort of, as I understand it, a deadline here. These applications to have a dispensary in your county by the companies that want to do this, or individuals, I guess, have to be submitted to the state by a certain time. And I believe Magistrate Hawkins believes that if we were to prohibit this, we would need a line in the sand right now before anybody starts applying to the state for.
Well, I think people have already. I know several businesses here that it applied a long time ago in case it became legal.
Yeah. But there's only going to be, I believe, my understanding is maybe one license issued. So how we're going to get to that, and whether or not it's going to generate revenue and things like that for the county, I don't know. We're not going to allow anything to go on that creates a problem if it does get approved. And like I say, it was some of the magistrates weren't even willing to try to discuss prohibiting it. I said, well, we'll let the discussion go on, but we'll take a vote later on the second reading of this proposed ordinance, and
go from there.
We'll see what happens from there.
That's all you can do. Judge, thank you so much. Once again, is there anything else you want to throw out?
Well, just that the courthouse is going well. The brickwork is coming around.
Looks good.
They're finishing up on the out around the statue. And the fencing that is reaching into Main Street will be pulled back onto back behind the plaza. I call it the plaza, or boulevard, whatever, beyond the statue by Oldham County Day. So
that's
we'll
going to
be
be
able to have more space there. The cupola is going to come off the top of the courthouse, unfortunately, because a leak has been found underneath the cupola.
Okay.
It wasn't discovered when the original work up there was being done. So a crane has to come in and take that off. The top of the Methodist Church building is going to come off eventually. We bought a new steeple for that.
Oh, cool.
And work is going to start next week on remodeling the interior of the former Methodist church building. And
that's old. That goes back a long time.
Right. That's a
piece of history
or so.
Yeah, a piece of our local history there.
And if we have a second or two left, I would like to mention that we've had to close out for AT&T bringing widespread broadband service. There's still a couple of places we're hearing about here and there that, well, I don't have it yet. We want to know where those addresses are, and we will get it to you. Somebody contacted my office from an apartment building somewhere, and they didn't have it. AT&T has run it nearby the property, but has never been able to find the property owner to get permission to go out the property. So there's these little glitches out there, and we're trying to get, sweep up the last,
last few
25 houses that don't have it, but we're very happy to have it everywhere, and It's been a big boon to people, and I think it's put our county in a good position to move forward for economic development. A lot of people want to work from home. I mean, right here with your studio, you're doing something that was totally unimaginable 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I worked in radio 50 years ago.
We don't need the big transmitter,
we
luckily.
don't need all that stuff. You know, we used to take transmitter readings every half hour. You know, sometimes you'd be 3 hours behind, so you'd have to fill in what you thought they were.
Yeah, exactly. And we, now, with digital and Wi-Fi, you can pick this station up all over the world as long as you have the app.
I mean, that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we are putting in a large screen up in our fiscal courtroom. We have 4 televisions on the wall they're used for projection. But invariably, anytime we have something that we project, one of the 4 televisions coming together create like lines between the TVs, and there's always something right in somebody's face or something.
Right.
So we have bought a large screen display that Jay McDowell and his staff will be putting up in the next couple of weeks. I'm excited as heck because we could do this internet thing. We could interview anybody in Kentucky on our large screen and have an appearance or a guest speaker at the fiscal court. All this technology is wonderful to have it, and you have to know how to work it. And
just make sure you're not getting anything that's AI.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're,
Jay and I were talking about that while ago.
I know it's, you don't understand where everything, what can go or how it might replace people or whatever, but. I don't know. I don't think it's ever going to replace any farmers because we all have to eat.
No, exactly. Thank you so much, Judge. I appreciate you once again.
Hey, great. Thank you. I appreciate you, Chris, and I appreciate Crossroads Radio.
Thank you, sir, very much. And we'll talk to you again next month. That's County Judge Executive David Voegele.